We are kicking things off right now with a look at the NFL schedule chaos. We're diving deep into why the NFL may have fumbled the ideal time slot for the Philadelphia Eagles versus the Los Angeles Rams in Week 4. Kickoff is scheduled for 1 p.m. EST on October 4th, tucked right into the afternoon pile of regional games, and we're asking why this matchup between Jalen Hurts and Matthew Stafford feels so out of place for prime time. We'll break down the scheduling decisions and what this means for fans and the big screen. Miles Hinton and Cam Williams on the offensive line. Finally, we wrap up with some big team predictions and player news. We look at the 2026 NFL schedule release and who has the best record after a bye week, including Nick Sirianni and Mike McDonald. We also check in on the Eagles star A.J. Brown's recent marriage and get some quick questions for Cooper DeJean. Don't miss out. Stay tuned for more breaking news. The National Football League has drawn criticism over the scheduling of the Week 4 matchup between the Philadelphia Eagles and the Los Angeles Rams, with many analysts suggesting the game was placed in an unfavorable time slot. Kickoff is scheduled for 1 p.m. EST on October 4th, falling into the early Sunday window, which critics argue detracts from what should be a high-stakes contest. The matchup features established stars and compelling storylines, pitting Jalen Hurts and Nick Sirianni against Matthew Stafford and Sean McVay. Given the team's recent history, with Philadelphia holding a 4-game winning streak in their head-to-head series, many feel the game deserves a primetime slot. Experts point out that the NFL prioritizes primetime slots for premier matchups. However, the league utilizes flexible scheduling, often moving high-stakes games based on bids from broadcast partners like CBS, Fox, NBC, ESPN, and Amazon. This flexibility is used to optimize television viewership and manage factors such as team bye weeks. The critique suggests that placing the Eagles-Rams game in the early afternoon risks burying a major event amidst other concurrent games, potentially hiding a headline matchup while fans are still settling in. While the league may have strategic reasons for the placement, the consensus among observers is that the decision feels like an oversight, failing to capitalize on the inherent drawing power of the Eagles and Rams rivalry. The landscape of the NFL is rapidly evolving, shifting the focus for successful offenses toward receivers who excel at creating separation and making plays after the catch, moving beyond traditional metrics of size or pure speed. According to Trojan's Wire, reliability and consistency are now paramount for establishing a top receiver in the league. Enter Makai Lemon, who is being highlighted as a prime example of this new archetype. In the modern NFL, the most crucial role for a weapon is to facilitate open opportunities for the quarterback. Weapons like Puka Nacua and Jackson Smith-Njigba have demonstrated this trend, proving that facilitating quarterback success is now the defining characteristic of a top receiver. Smith-Njigba, in particular, has recently concluded his career-best season, achieving the status of the league's best receiver and contributing significantly to the Seattle Seahawks Super Bowl victory. Makai Lemon is positioned to fill this emerging role. He possesses the attributes necessary to be a premier weapon, the ability to get open at a high level, physicality, elite performance after the catch, and the capacity to secure big catches. Crucially, his success is not dependent on size. He can win contested catches through superior athleticism. Furthermore, Lemon is not limited to receiving duties, showing willingness to engage in run blocking. Analysts suggest that Makai Lemon embodies the profile of today's elite NFL receivers. Even in competitive scenarios, such as the Philadelphia Eagles' situation following the loss of A.J. Brown this offseason, Lemon is expected to quickly become a central figure. He is seen as a potential perfect replacement, or even an improvement, for the team. Furthermore, observers believe that Lemon is set to become a vital security blanket for Jalen Hurts' quarterback play, mirroring the impact made by other dynamic receivers like Puka Nacua and Jackson Smith-Njigba. The NFL schedule release for Week 4 has drawn criticism, with analysts suggesting the placement of the Philadelphia Eagles versus the Los Angeles-Rams game in the early Sunday window was a scheduling misstep. Kickoff is set for 1 p.m. EST on October 4th, placing the matchup amidst the usual afternoon regional games, a slot many feel is suboptimal for a high-stakes contest. Critics argue that the pairing of the Eagles and Rams, teams possessing significant stars, compelling storylines, and recent drama, deserves a primetime slot. The matchup features key figures like Jalen Hurts against Matthew Stafford and Nick Sirianni against Sean McVay, suggesting a level of competition that warrants greater television exposure. Furthermore, the historical context adds to the debate. This marks the fourth consecutive season the two franchises have met, with Philadelphia holding a dominant 4-game winning streak in the head-to-head series. Despite the history, recent games have remained compelling, including a dramatic divisional round snow thriller last season. The report points to the league's complex scheduling strategy, noting that while primetime slots are prioritized, the NFL utilizes flexible scheduling to move high-stakes games based on broadcast partner demands from networks like CBS, Fox, NBC, ESPN, and Amazon. Scheduling decisions also factor in team bye weeks and minimizing consecutive matchups for teams returning from a break. While acknowledging that last season's game was non-primetime, the consensus among commentators is that the Eagles-Rams matchup is a pre-packaged event that does not necessitate manufacturing attention. Instead, it risks being overshadowed by other compelling Week 4 games. Ultimately, the analysis concludes that the decision feels less like strategic programming and more like an oversight, though fans are expected to tune in regardless, anticipating significant attention on the Red Zone channel. Philadelphia Eagles quarterback Jalen Hurts has garnered mixed reactions following the team's firing of offensive coordinator Kevin Patullo and reports detailing friction between Hurts and the organization, including head coach Nick Sirianni. A team source suggested Hurts was not always bought in and not the most coachable, a sentiment contrasted sharply by former position coach Scott Loeffler. Loeffler praised Hurts, describing him as a super coachable, championship type of guy, highlighting their strong past relationship. Loeffler noted that his continued work with Hurts was focused on refining fundamentals and techniques to prepare him for the new staff. Meanwhile, the NFL schedule makers have highlighted Hurts' statistical dominance, noting he is the only quarterback in NFL history to start at least 5 season openers without a loss. Looking ahead, predictions for the 2026 season suggest the Eagles face challenges stemming from internal noise and potential changes in leadership, pointing toward a possible down year. In terms of player development, there is interest in offensive line depth, with center Drew Kendall being viewed as a potential primary backup, and concerns remain regarding the prospects of rookies like Myles Hinton and Cam Williams. Furthermore, the Eagles star A.J. Brown recently married Kelsey Riley. In other NFL news, the Philadelphia Eagles are slated for a high-stakes matchup against the Seahawks in Week 15, a potential barometer for both teams. Beyond the Eagles, there are updates on other teams, including predictions for the Dallas Cowboys' 2026 offensive line and analysis on the outlook for the Washington Commanders under Adam Peters.